There we are. Unbelievable. I was like, all of a sudden I looked up and it was black. No. And I remembered that you guys could still hear me. And I didn't want to pull what we did when Jason was here. And you got to hear all the F bombs and all that type of good stuff. So, because it's irritating. You guys have no idea how irritating it can be. So we got what? Nostradamus is here, Mary Taylor, Dale from Ohio, Robert Blakemore, Bobby Farron, Wishika's in the house, Kathy's here. So Dale from Ohio. Hey, Paula Andre, The Garden Life, Our Life Off Grid, Carol Prince. Welcome, welcome, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. I appreciate your patience. It's always something. Always something. Video looks a little blurry, Robert saying. It's clear on my end, Robert. So try signing out and signing back in and see if that helps. Okay, Wishika. Yep, yep. So anyway, just so you guys know ahead of time, I'm going to announce this now so that you guys know. I will not be live streaming on Sunday. I have to work on Sunday, so Mother's Day. That's how it goes. So I will not be live streaming on Sunday. And everybody traveling and getting ready to go see their moms and spend time with their moms, safe travels, be safe, enjoy that time because we don't know how long we have our moms for. And a lot of people, their moms are already gone, unfortunately. So, yeah. So that's where we're at. I hate when work gets in the way of fun. Yeah, well, I'd get a lot more done if I had nothing but free time all the time. That would be nice. And unlimited money. Unlimited funds would help as well. But I still haven't won that lottery yet, so that is not an option, unfortunately. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to remind everybody that this is a very family friendly oriented channel. I would ask you all to please be decent in the chat, no racism, no nastiness. If you cannot abide by those very simple, easy rules, those awesome people lit up in blue with the blue wrenches are going to boot you out of here. So, Mara says, I keep curious about what your job you're referring to. What do you do? I do not share that information. Do not share that information. But thank you for asking. Yeah, I could just see. I'd be at work and all of a sudden they're getting all kinds of complaints, you know, because the trolls would love that. So no, I don't. Certain things I don't share. But anyhow, I don't know if you guys now. So in the private chat, somebody had mentioned. I actually think it was uh, Bud had mentioned it. He was talking. Did you see what's going on with Colombia? And I'm like, no. What do you mean what's going on? So I had to go in between here and check it out and see what was going on. And more of these freaking protesters, um, you know, pro-Palestinian protesters. And guys, I got to tell you what. This is what I find amazing. So majority of these protesters that were going into there to Colombia were women. Okay, so let's break it down. Let's break it down. In countries in the Middle East, women are second-hand citizens. They are. I mean, that's just a fact. They have no rights. They're married into arranged marriages all the time. They, their husbands can do whatever they want to them, beat them, everything else, and there's no recourse. But yet, these morons that we have here in the United States are going to protest for people like that do those type of things. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, the stupidity level is beyond and off the charts. That's just my take on it. So I would bet most are paid protesters. Wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise. No, Raymond, the audio's working. So if somebody could tell him to sign out and sign back in, maybe that would help for him. Because if he can't hear me say it, it's not going to help. So If somebody could tell Raymond there to sign out and sign back in. But anyway, so there was 14 arrests. I think that there was 65 people got suspended from the campus. Some of them were people that had already graduated that were coming back to protest, so their privileges to be able to be on the I mean, these people are paying. I want you to think about this, guys. These people are paying $90,000 a year to go to Columbia. $90,000 a year. And to have somebody come in there while they're in the library studying, preparing, right, and disrupting everything and vandalizing and all that stuff that they were doing and the graffiti and the whole 9 yards, it's just insane. But now, see, again, this is not the Biden administration anymore, folks. This is the Trump administration. So they are really cracking down on this kind of nonsense, and the police were not putting up with it either. And I think that that is a great thing. I'm sorry, you know, you want to protest, protest, stand outside, do your little scene or whatever you think you're going to do to make any difference. But you don't go storming a library. You don't destroy things. You don't start doing graffiti all over that. Yeah, mom and dad are paying. Of course, David. That's why they're going there because but that's insane. That's insane amount of money. But yeah, craziness, absolute craziness. But hey, you know, they call it a free country, but and they keep letting these people act stupid. They're going to keep acting stupid. They crack down, which is what they're doing now, and they already had mentioned. I was watching this thing on it, and the Tom Holman or the guy there that he was like, if any of these people are under visa, their visa is going to be revoked and they're going to be removed from the country. The other thing that I saw today, and we're going to get into talking about preparedness and all that too, so please just bear with me. Um, the other thing that I saw today, these Democrats, is always the Democrats, guys, okay? The mayor of New Jersey and a couple of Democratic Congress people went to an ICE detention center in New Jersey and were demanding. I love when they do that. You know, do you know who I am? Who cares who you are? You don't have access to come in here. You just can't come in here willy nilly because you demand to come in here. Well, the mayor of New Jersey was arrested, and I don't know what happened with the congressman. And it was one congressman and one congresswoman that was there, demanding to be let in. And if they had as much passion, okay, for the American people as they do lay hands on a law enforcement officer and see what happens. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Um, but if they had as much passion for the American people that are here already, that are Americans, as they do for illegal aliens that are here in the country illegally, right? There was the big talk. The one was saying, well, some of these people that have been arrested by ICE have not committed a crime. So again, I'll refresh. If you are in the country illegally, right? You came in here illegally, that's a crime, which means you can be deported. I don't know where these congressmen and congresswomen are coming from, right? They're looking for future Democratic voters because a lot of the black constituents in their parties, right, have woken up and realized that in a lot of these cities that are Democratic run, they're not helping the black community. They're figuring that out. And so they're switching. They're going to the Republican Party. And so now they got to find a new base. So that's why do you think, what, 8 to 10 million illegals were let into the country? Because eventually they figured, well, we'll make them permanent residents. You look back, what was Dreamers, right? All those kids that came in and they've been here forever and a day. And so now all of a sudden, well, they've been here, we'll let them stay. And, they want to let them stay. That's the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to get a new voter base in all these different states because they ship them all over the place, guys. It's not like they just send them in one place, they ship them everywhere. It can change the voting thing overall so that the Democrats could win and win and win and win and win. So, you know, it just, it's amazing to me. It really is amazing to me. The whole thing, the whole system, the way that it's set up, it's insanity. It's insanity. Again, I am not against immigration into the United States if it's done the right way. You do it the legal way and you come in this country, and for all the people, right? And think about this, for all the people that did it the right way, immigrants from whatever country, I don't care what country they came from, whatever country they came from, and they did it the right way, that's a slap in the face to all them that had to go through years trying to get into this country, getting their green card, making sure they weren't committing any crimes, doing everything the right way. And then these other idiots just come in here and they get everything handed to them. And that's another thing that I have a huge problem with, especially when we have Americans that are suffering that need help, but we're not helping them, but we're putting these people, other people up in hotels that don't even belong here. I mean, don't even get me started. Do not get me started on that one. But yeah, lots of fun, always something. But anyway, so let's talk about a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on. Israel's ramping stuff up again. That's why these protesters are back again, trying to cause trouble. Again, not realizing who they're dealing with now. They're not dealing with Biden, who or his handlers, whoever was really calling the shots. They're dealing with the Trump administration. This nonsense is not going to be allowed, which I think is fantastic. I mean, like I said, again, you want to protest till you're blue in the face. And I don't even care if I agree with you and you're a protester, you won't see me there. I ain't getting involved in none of that stuff because you can get yourself jammed up in a hurry. A lot of bad things can happen, and I'm not down for it. I'm just not. We got what, 201 in the chat, guys? We got 63 some thumbs up so far. So if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to please do so to show support for the channel. And I do appreciate that ahead of time. It really does make a big difference with the algorithm. So I thank you for that reason as well. Also, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And I thank you ahead of time. So anyway, India and Pakistan actually had a dogfights as well. Yes, I saw that. I was going to mention that the J10 that India, not India, that Pakistan has was handing India their behind, from what I understand. Okay, there's like I said, there is a lot going on in that situation right now. I did the video earlier today that went up at 3 o'clock about how India has actually they have that water treaty with Pakistan. Well, they opened up the floodgates today, and they're letting it flood parts of Pakistan. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's just it's a matter of time. How bad will it get? Will it end up going nuclear? Right? I mean that's a question, and when it does, if it does go nuclear, what effect does that have on everything else? Now, obviously they're not close to us, but that can never be a good thing. So when you have two nuclear powers that are going at it, and you got to understand too, Pakistan has 1/6 the population that India does, so they could lose the entire population of Pakistan and take out everybody in Pakistan, and they would still have a tremendous amount of people. So, but it's a sad situation, unfortunately, that's going on there. But so here's something I had mentioned. I did it in my private live stream earlier. I want to ask you guys, because I've had issues with both. All right. So my phone was one. The other is with a laptop and the computer system and stuff like that. Have been issues. Things are going slow, probably like the last week or so. Like trying to upload videos, video uploading is taking forever. The system is like really lagging down. And I wanted to ask you guys, are you experiencing those same things? Are you experiencing problems with your phones trying to do stuff, and also with your computers as well? Are you guys having issues? Because I kind of want to discuss that a little bit. So I'm gonna, if you guys would say yes or no in the comments, I would appreciate that. Robert's saying not so much yet. Okay. Delbert is saying yes. At 3D said yes. Bobby's saying yes on their phone. So majority of people are saying yes so far. Yeah, I know Iowa have Verizon is lagging bad. Yes, I have Verizon as well. Uh, JJ said yes, but NASA put out a warning about solar flares slowing down the internet. Ah, okay, I gotcha. So majority of people are having problems. Okay, so what if, and I love to speculate, right? And I'm not doing any kind of conspiracy theory thing, but I love to speculate. I like to think about things, the what ifs. All right. What if they're getting ready, probing, testing things out? You've seen some blackouts happen, and different things have happened where there's different blackouts going on. Obviously, we just had the recent thing over in Spain where they had a blackout for what, about 36 hours or something to that. What if it wasn't solar flares? What if it wasn't something else? What if it was them getting ready, right? And I'm not saying that this is the case, but what if it was that they were getting ready to shut everything off on us? I mean, think about the ramifications of that. All right. Like you look at my daughter, okay, is a good example. People that age, and actually you could probably go with 30 and under. Anybody 30 and under has grown up with the internet. They've had the internet. They're used to having it. They're used to having all the cell phones and all that. We didn't grow up with any of that growing up. Okay, we didn't have any of that. I remember when the pager first came out. You know what I mean? And that's how you had still had payphones everywhere. You don't have payphones everywhere anymore because everybody's got a cell phone. But that grid goes down. That whole generation of kids, they're lost because they don't know how to function without those things. And I want you to think about that. I mean, I'm going to tell you what, I love having my cell phone. I love having it handy. I love being able to go, well, let me look that up and just boom, 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 bam, I got the information that I want. Okay. I love it. But I grew up in a time, yeah, Pac Man. I had Pac Man. Pac Man, Space Invaders, and Centipede. And on your computer, you had Pong, if you guys remember that as well. That was like the first one. That little beep, beep. Yeah. So that's way old school stuff. But again, I grew up without that. So if that went off, would it kind of suck? Yeah, it would suck. Okay. But would that be the end of the world? No. I mean, you go, okay, well, there goes that, and we move on, right? But the younger generation has never known anything but that. So for them, it is going to be a very, very traumatic thing, very traumatic thing. And it's going to be very difficult for them to adjust. So those are things that people need to think about. They really, really need to think about that. So, uh, you know, again, I've said it before, and I will say this again. I think, and I do not believe it's going to be an EMP. Now, if it was, I would go, oh crap, it was an EMP, right? But I don't think it's going to be an EMP. I think we're going to either have an attack on our power grid, or it's going to be some kind of cyber attack that shuts down the whole thing, and who knows how long it would be out. All right, and if it was an attack on the grid, it could be out for a substantially long time until they repaired it. Neither one of those would shock me. I fully anticipate that again, I've said this, guy, so many times. The only way you beat America, right? You're never going to out technology us. You're never going to, do those type of things. You're not going to invade us because we're too strong, right? We're armed to the teeth in this country, where a lot of these other countries, are not. And so, thinking that they can invade, Imperial Japan never considered invading mainland America because they said there would be a gun behind every blade of grass, which is they're 100% correct. But, but our Achilles heel nowadays, and I've said this many times again, and I'm going to say it again right now, our Achilles heel is the power grid. We are too reliant on the power grid. If the grid goes down for any length of time, because again, this isn't the 1920s and the 1930s where everybody had a garden, everybody canned, everybody was more self sufficient. We are not anymore. Okay. We rely on the system as a society. Okay. As a society, we rely on the system. The system goes down, we will, and I said this before, and somebody goes, "What do you mean we'll eat each other?" I said, "We will eat each other," which means this: we will attack each other. We will go after people that have stuff, and it will have the haves and the have-nots, and how dare you have something and I don't, and it's not fair. And they'll justify, because that's one of the great things we are as Americans, we will justify our actions with whatever we need to do to satisfy our own needs. Okay. So, um, you know, we're never going to come together and work together. There may be pockets of people that do that, but that's going to be far and few between. Trust me when I'm telling you this, guys, because we are very selfish as Americans. We live in an instant gratification society. Yeah, the unprepared will attack the prepared. And again, if that happens, Robert, you need to be prepared to protect what you have. You need to be prepared to protect what you have. Uh, you know, I'm going to talk about a couple things that I think are important that are going to be game changers in that type of situation. Okay. Again, I always talk about groups because I think if you are not part of a group, you need to be part of a group. Affiliate yourself with people that are preparedness minded. It's going to make a huge, huge difference in the long run. Now, having said that, SHTF happens. I'm going to give you a scenario, and basically, I want you to look at it from this perspective. SHTF happens. The prepared that are part of a group have a destination in mind. They're going to get whatever they can in their vehicles for that last trip. Hopefully, they have their building or property supplied already, and they're going to try to make that one last trip of stuff and get to their bug out location. And hopefully, they would start to do that immediately once they realized things had gone down the toilet. The majority of people, what they're going to do is they're going to sit tight, they're going to wait, thinking the lights are coming back on, the whole 9 yards. All right, I've talked about this, okay? That's your window of opportunity. Now, let's go 2 weeks into an SHTF situation, right? Now, your group is together. Hopefully, everybody makes it to the bug out location, right? If you plan on bugging in, hopefully you're squared away, ready to go. The people that you want to have surrounding you in that situation, hopefully they're all there as well. Again, real quick, we're at 262 in the chat. We're at 95 on the thumbs up. If you have not shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel. Again, I do appreciate that. Again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to hit all notifications as well, and I do appreciate that as well. Ed, your reaction earlier when you couldn't get the first stream up, multiplied by millions. Oh yeah, well, and it was like I was just frustrated, because it was like, oh, here we go again. But anyway, so now let's go 2 weeks out. SHTF has happened. It's a world, countrywide thing. The entire country is down, no power, no nothing. Okay. Again, here's something to remember. 93% of the people in this country are not prepared for a 2-week disaster, let alone anything longer. That's important to remember because why? After a week and they have no food, they have no power, they have no way to stay warm or stay cool. Um, you're going to have a lot of very angry people when nobody's coming to save the day. You're going to have a lot of angry people that are going to be looking. You're going to have people wandering with no destination in mind. Okay, no they're going to be desperate. They're going to be scared. Okay. And I've talked about this part of it before as well. The most dangerous person in a true SHTF situation is the person that is desperate, scared, and has nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. Okay. Yeah. And no way to get water after 2 weeks, Delbert is saying too. Exactly. Or fresh water. There'll be water, but they don't have a way to make it fresh to be able to drink it without having issues. Again, the number one killer after a true SHTF situation, the number one killer is going to be dysentery. What is dysentery? It's diarrhea. Okay. I'm telling you right now, people will drink tainted water because they're thirsty. There's water. It looks clean. They'll drink it. Whatever parasites are in that water are going to get into their system. They're going to get diarrhea and they're going to crap themselves to death. That fact. Okay. Now, 2 weeks out, no food, no water, desperate, scared, nothing to lose. They're going to be looking for any place where they can get those things. All right. The problem is this. Okay. So there's those people desperate, scared, nothing to lose, overtired, right? Not getting proper sleep. They're not eating properly. So they're not as sharp mentally as they need to be. Maybe they're traveling. Now they're traveling, the weather's not always going to be 75 and sunny, right? You're dealing with extreme temperature drops. At night, it can get fairly chilly, even in the summertime. You're going to have people that are going to be sick, okay? Sick, scared, desperate, nothing to lose, not eating properly, not getting proper water. They're traveling, they're losing their minds, right? Now they come upon a prepper compound. Let's think about this, okay? Now we're going to talk about the people in the prepper compound. They've made it to their bug out location. These are people, yeah, lack of drugs, lack of alcohol, all those type of things as well. Absolutely. The people that have part of the bug out location, they've made it to the location. In that 2 week period, while everybody else is losing their mind, these people are going to be upset as well. There's going to be stress and all that type of stuff. But what are they going to be doing in that 2 week period? All right. They're going to be setting up defenses. They're going to be digging latrines. They're going to be, setting up that watch rotation. Who's going to be doing what shift and what hours are they going to be awake and blah 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 and doing all those type of things. And then they're also going to be whatever wild edibles are available. They're going to be getting those. They're going to be looking at gathering whatever livestock we need to have. They're going to be doing that, right? The difference is this: they're going to be getting proper sleep. They're going to be eating properly. They're prepared for these things. They're ready. So when somebody who is not thinking clearly, overtired, possibly sick, right, dealing with the weather, that lack of water, lack of resources, haven't eaten a decent meal in a week or whatever the case may be, they're coming and they're attacking. Are they thinking clearly? Do they have a strategic plan? It's desperation and chaos. The advantage that the group is going to have is, again, they're well rested, they're well fed, their minds are sharp. They may be upset because of everything that's going on. Obviously, everybody's going to be dealing with different things, but they're going to have a huge advantage. The other thing they're going to have an advantage of is knowing the territory, right? Knowing the ground that you're on. So the voices in my head have started a group chat. Group chat, yeah, right. But again, we're going to be improving our situation. We're going to be getting things locked up. We're going to be like, okay, It's this time of year, whatever time of year that may be. Because again, guys, there's no guarantee that SHTF is going to happen in the middle of summer or spring or fall or winter. We don't know when it's going to happen. If it happens in the middle of winter, there ain't nobody coming, right? They're not coming. They're going to be sitting at home, locked in, especially if they're in the north. First snowstorm that comes and nobody's plowing the roads, now they're stuck there to spring. So by the time the spring comes, there's going to be a lot of skeletons out there because people are going to starve to death. They're not going to be able to get any help. And let's think about all the things that happen every single day that we don't think about because it's not newsworthy, right? Injuries. Injuries are going to be all over the place, right? Accidents, people cutting themselves, people still having heart attacks and strokes and all those type of stuff because now all of a sudden you're having to do a lot more exertion activities that you're not used to. If you're humping it down the road and you got a pack on your back, and let's say it's only 30 pounds, all right, but you aren't used to that, there's going to be a lot of people going to be face up in the ditch because they're going to drop dead because they're not used to, their body is not used to that exertion. There's going to, and now let's think about this. You live in a city, right? How many bodies do you think it would take before that city started really stinking? Really stinking? 1,000? Couple thousand? How about 100,000, 200,000 dead corpses all over the place? What do you think that smell is going to be like? What do you think that disease and the rats and everything that's going to feed off all those dead bodies? What do you think that's going to be like? It's going to be an absolute nightmare. Again, I've talked many times about a lot of these topics, but I think it's important to reiterate a lot of this to you guys so that you think. I want you to think. I want you to plan. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Where am I going to go? What's my game plan? Because I'm telling you, when chaos happens, people panic. I mean, look at a good example would be you've seen the different disasters that have happened at nightclubs, and there's a fire and everybody's trying to get out, but the doors open inward, they don't open outward, but everybody's pressed here against the door and the people behind them are pressing on those people trying to get out because there's a fire. Nobody's thinking rationally going, wait a second, folks, let's just back up for 5 seconds and open the door so that we can all get out. They're not thinking like that because they're not thinking. They are reacting instead of acting. Um, you know, it's just it's those are the things that are going to happen. A lot of people are going to die because of stupidity. People are going to think, well, I'm just going to walk. It's the middle of winter, okay, but I'm just going to walk and I'm going to get to a safe place. They're not going to make it unless you have some skills and you know how to build shelters and you know how to stay warm. I mean, frostbite can happen very, very quickly. You're trying to cross over that pond, right? Oh, it's fine. We'll be able to walk over that, no issues. And they start walking and somebody falls through. What are you doing? I mean, the scenarios that can happen and the way people can perish really quickly because of stupidity. Let's say we're here. Everybody's here at the homestead, right? All my people are here. We're surviving. Everything's great. We send three guys out into the woods to cut down trees or whatever. And now there's an accident, and one of them cuts himself badly with that chainsaw. You know, you better be able to know what to do and how to deal with that situation and take care of that situation ahead of time. Because if you don't, that person has zero chance. Now, depending on how badly they cut themselves, they may not make it anyway. So, logical thinking will be lost in the heart of panic. Absolutely. You know, Spider says great fear porn. It's not about fear porn. Why would you call this fear? I mean, I realize you're being trollish and that's okay, but it ain't about fear porn. It's not. No, you didn't even have to delete that, JJ. That was fine. It's not about fear porn. It's about reality. What can happen? That's what I'm trying to explain to people. These are. This is. I am. I'm going to tell you where I don't live in fantasy. I don't think everything's going to be wonderful in a true SHTF situation. It's going to be very difficult, even for the prepared it's going to be very difficult because number one, you have to adjust to your new reality. That's number one. You got to adjust to the new reality. Number two, you better wrap your minds around what you need to do to survive, what you are willing to do to survive. Now, a lot of people will say, well, I would never do this or I would never do that. You're never been in that situation. So you can't sit here with a full belly, rested, sitting at home with everything and all your creature comforts and say, get on your high horse and say, well, I would never do this or I would never do that. One of the reasons why I prepare the way that I do is because I don't want to have to eat people. Now, I will tell you this, would I eat people to survive if it came down to that? You better believe it. Yes, I would. I have no issues with that. Do I want to? No, I do not. So I prepare and I put myself in a position that I don't have to eat other people. Do you think that that plane wreck, those people that were in the Andes, remember that plane wreck, the soccer team that crashed in the mountains in the Andes, and they thought they were going to be rescued right away, and nobody came, right? And what did they do to survive? They eventually realized we have to eat the dead. And then a couple guys ended up, you know, walking out and getting help and getting rescued because the only way that they were going to save themselves is if they saved themselves. But yeah, it's easy to say things in the home of your luxury. Take away the luxury and see what you're saying then. Exactly. Exactly. Um, yeah, that was a scary movie because that's reality. That's what happened. So I love when people get on their high horse and say, well, I would never do this. I'm going to tell you what, as much as I love that dog right here, as much as I love her, if it came down to it, I'm eating that dog. Okay. Because I want to survive. That's the goal. The goal is to survive. So I prepare in a way that I do so I don't have to eat her and she can stay alive because she's an asset. She's a huge asset. Okay. But again, the ultimate goal is to survive. So if you put yourself in a situation, um, I survived the ice storm of New York, North County, no power for 2 weeks or more. The community worked together and we survived educational. Again, Micro, that's great. The community worked together and you survived the situation because it was not a long term situation. Okay. It's not a long term situation. Everybody knew it was a temporary situation. There's a huge difference in the community working together if there is a temporary situation or a long term situation. If there's no more, see, even in that temporary situation, there was rule of law, Micro. Okay, there was rule of law even in that temporary situation. When there is no more rule of law, when all bets are off and everybody's on their own and it's fight or flight, I want to see people, communities they will not work together. I can almost guarantee you that because somebody's always going to want to be the one in charge. Somebody's always going to be the one making the decisions. And, unless you have picked a place, picked your people, picked your leadership, and said, okay, these are the people I trust. These are the people that I have. If that's not pre-done ahead of time, it's going to be very, very difficult to trust people. It's going to be very, very difficult to take your life and say, hey, I'm going to put my life in your hands. You're making the calls. I trust you. People aren't going to do that. That's just not reality. That's not reality. Okay. Like I said, again, I'm reality based. As soon as the food runs out, as soon as things aren't going the way that people think that they should be going, you're going to have revolt. That's what's going to happen in those type of communities where everything is not done ahead of time. Ed, medical question. I recently in the ER, I saw the whole total bill and that the insurance co-paid the hospital. The hospital only paid 20%. Can I keep? How can they keep the doors? What? What? You want to go outside? Huh? Get down. Hold on a second, guys. Princess. All right, don't run off. Stay close. Go on now. So hell is saying don't eat me, bro. That's funny. Um, but anyway, you know, you need to prepare. You need to be ready. You need to have a game plan. You need to have people around you that you trust. I mean, I don't just spew this stuff because I'm spewing this stuff. The reality is people are very selfish, and you have to think about that, okay? If you can do a group and have people working together, like people told me when we started doing this down here, oh, that'll never work. People will never, buy into that mindset. Well, they have, okay? They have. And look what we've gotten done down here since we started all working together and having a common plan and having a common mindset of what we want to do and how we want to do it. It's been amazing. It has absolutely been amazing. We were alone, no military, no Red Cross or FEMA. This happened in the 80s. Yeah, well, like I said, again, temporary situation, micro, temporary situation. In a true SHTF situation where the lights ain't coming back on or you have no idea when the lights are coming on. Let's see what civility acts like then. And it's a very, very thin veil, a very thin veil. And I'm glad that it worked for you back in the 80s when that happened to you. Okay. I'm glad that worked for you. But the reality is that won't work in a true SHTF situation. It just won't. Um, so you better have a plan, and you better surround yourself with people that have that same mindset. So yeah, there's all kinds of the forest will feed you if you know what you're looking for. But people don't know what they're looking for. They don't know where the wild edibles are. They don't know where things are going to be. So, there's a lot of concern and a lot of issues and people are just not going to make it, folks. The number of people that don't even know how to make a fire. They have no idea how to make a fire. It's scary. Very, very scary. So, interesting stuff. It'll be an interesting time. I can tell you that right now. You know, it'll be a very interesting time. Library has books on edible plants. Well, here's another thing, Janie. We'll go back in history. And I found this fact. I love history is amazing. We're gonna go back again to Hurricane Katrina, right? What was the one place that was not touched in Hurricane Katrina? Not touched, not bothered. That was the library because there was nothing that anybody wanted to steal out of there. But the thing is, the knowledge and the information that would be in the library could save their lives. And they had no idea. No idea. Because people are that stupid. So, uh, got back to renew each other, his neighbors, what to do and not to do. We worked at a group survived in North Country with the Amish. Like I said, I'm glad it worked for you, but in a true SHTF situation, it'll be a different mindset. I'm just telling you, you can think what you want, and that's great. You can think what you want. Oh yeah, it is almost that. It is quarter two, isn't it? Yeah, but see, I got started. I had to restart later, so I still got like we'll do egg count. When this hits 45, this live stream we're about another minute away. So, but again, you may think that's going to work, and I hope it does for you. I really do. But the reality is, it won't. Because let's say, even if your whole neighborhood worked together, we'll give a great example. We got a neighborhood decides, yes, we're going to work together, we're going to help each other out, and we're going to come together, and everything's going to be beautiful, right? Number one, there's going to be issues. And then eventually, there will be people that will come that will try to take what you have. And if you have pacifist mindsets and you have people that would rather sit on the sidelines and let other people do the work while they reap the rewards of that work, it's not going to work, not in a long term situation. And like I said again, people are going to come, they're going to be ready, they're going to be armed, and they're going to want what you have because you have stuff and they don't. So you need to be thinking about that as well. And I'm just saying, I'm reality based. I know human nature. I know how people are. And it's not, it ain't going to be pretty. And we're all going to have. Here's what I want you to understand. In a true SHTF situation, let's say it's end of the world as we know it, it's never going back to normal. Good men will have to do evil things. All right. Bad people will do monstrous things. You know, because, oh no, I'm sorry. Good men will have to do bad things. Evil people will, or bad people will do evil things. That's what the way the saying goes. I'm sorry. Mixed that up. So good men will have to do bad things to survive. But people that are already or bad will do evil things. And that's a fact. Do you think that child trafficking would stop because of SHTF? You don't think those people will still try to get kids to do what they want to do with kids? There'll be a lot of kids out there with a lot of needs. So, all right, we're going to do the egg count now, guys. So, how many eggs today? And yes or no for Miss Betty White. So, we'll give you a few minutes to get those up there and we will go from there. Okay. Give you guys a moment to get your guesses in. It's so weird that it was actually still light out and it's 8:40. It's not dark out there yet. All right. If you had the same exact guess as after a long absence of being a winner, like a week, maybe a little bit longer than that, DJ is back on top with 3 eggs today. And yes, for Miss Betty White. It was cooler here today, so I think that's why we only got the 3 eggs. I got 4 yesterday, but today was only 3 eggs. And yes, Miss Betty White laid. So congratulations to DJ on your 100th win. I don't know how many times he's won a lot, not 100, but he's won a lot. So congratulations, you've won absolutely nothing, but you are happy about it. Let me just try to call her in real quick. Come on, girlie. Yeah, good girl. That's a good girl. Yeah, that's a good baby. That's a good girl. I figured that was long enough for her to do her business. Please don't eat me. I'll come back in the house. Like I said, guys, I'm reality based. I'm absolutely reality based, and you may think that things are going to be nice and everybody's going to be working together, but that's not reality. It's just not reality. You know, I want you to think about this, guys, and really think about this. Look at how we treat each other now with rule of law. Think about all the road rage cases out there, right? People getting mad, flipping out, attacking somebody. You know, think about all the evil people that are out there now that are committing crimes, right? That are doing awful, horrific things. And that's with rule of law. That's with rule of law. Some people, the only reason they haven't gone to their base nature is because they don't want to go to jail. They don't want to have consequences for their actions. But in a true SHTF situation, there is no consequences for your actions. So you can do basically whatever you want to do. You can get away with whatever you want to get away with. So you have to make the decision: what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, what am I willing to do, what won't I do? Okay. You got to come to that conclusion. And I think a lot of people don't think about those type of things. So it's just, you know, I will always continue to encourage you, prepare, 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 get ready, because I'm telling you, I honestly do believe we're going to have a situation where 1 minute the lights are on and then the next minute they're off. And, think about rush hour. Let's think about that for a second. What's it like in rush hour? You're on your way to work in any city in America, right? In the morning, bumper to bumper traffic. Excuse me. Bumper to bumper traffic. People are all on edge. And then, boom, out go the lights, right? Look what happened in Spain. Traffic came to a standstill. And that's exactly how it would be on those highways. And you're stuck in your car. You're miles and miles and miles away from home. And now what are you going to do? You can't go nowhere. You can't drive your car. You can't turn it around. People are not going to work together. They're not going to go, well, hold on. You do this and I'll do that. It'd be complete and utter chaos. And now you're dealing with that. So, a lot of people are just going to get out, leave their car right where it's at, and then they're going to go. Ed, is it time to check thoughts, bug out bags to make sure you have what you actually need? That's a really, really good idea, Delbert. People should be looking seasonally at your bug out bags every season. You should have a bug out bag in your vehicle because you just don't know. You could be at work when something goes on. You figure you spend 8 hours a day on the job, right? And then whatever to commute to and from work. So let's say you have an hour commute, right? Hour commute, 8 hours at work, hour commute home. So now there's 10 hours out of every day. So the chances are pretty high that you may either be on the road or at work when something goes down. There's also a good chance that you might be home, but you don't know. So seasonally, you need to know what's in your, rotate that food or whatever you have in your bug out bag for your car. Make sure you have the season appropriate clothing. If it's the middle of summer, the last thing you're going to want to have is your long johns that you're humping down the road with them because you don't need them in the summertime. Now, you should probably have something like an emergency blanket. So if you're stuck on the road and it's nighttime and you don't get home in time, that you can stay warm. Okay. But again, preparation, preparation, preparation. But you should definitely be looking to rotate your stuff that way as well, and go from there. You really should. It's something to definitely think about. So, uh, like one of these weekend get-togethers, what I want to do is I want to pull one of my old buckets that I got, some older buckets that I had when I was still with my ex-wife. Pull one of them. We'll pull the food out. We'll cook that up and eat that here that weekend and see how it goes. I think that would be really interesting. You know, this food that we packed this away back in. I mean, I got stuff that I packed away in '09. 2011. That's packed away. It's been packed away. So I think it would be. I mean, I've opened some of my older buckets and shown you that the stuff was still good, that it was still vacuum sealed, that and all that type of stuff. So, that's a really cool thing. So, it's just a matter of, like I said, just getting things ready, and showing you, yes, this food that I bought 12, 15 years ago is still edible. If I could speak, it would be helpful. That's important as well. So, you better trust what you have. And there's certain things that you need to rotate through. Canned goods, I've eaten canned goods, guys, that were 7, 8 years old. As long as that can is not swollen, or when you open it, if you open that can and it's a foul smell, do not eat that. All right. That's a real sure sign that something is not right. But if you open that can and it smells okay and the can wasn't swollen, and you can tell, I've had a couple of cans here. I've showed you guys cans that swelled up. I've had a couple like that. So, but yeah, if you do it right, you should be okay. Exactly. So again, but you need to rotate through your stuff that you have so that, as you're eating things, And again, and I've said this a million and one times, and I'm going to say this again as well, prep the food that you like. Yes, you should have rice. Yes, you should have beans. Okay. Yes, you should have honey. Yes, you should have, a lot of different things. But if that's not part of your normal diet, you should try to find out if you like that stuff. Like I like every kind of beans that we have stocked up here. I like all of them. I like rice. uh, you know, but again, like your creature comfort foods, like your raviolis in a can, right? Like coffee, those things. We've been stocking up on those. Freeze dried coffee, really important thing to have, especially for coffee drinkers. So everyone from the cities will head to the country areas they are familiar with or where they have vacationed. They won't, Reagan Dog. I'm telling you right now, and I've talked about that before. Again, not everybody's getting out of the cities. Some people, a small percentage of people, will get out of the cities. But most of the people, if they can't drive there right away, if they cannot get out of Dodge right away, what they're going to do is they're going to go back. Well, first of all, again, most people are going to sit tight and wait for things to get better. And then when they realize that things are not going to get better, then it's going to be too late. They're not driving anywhere. They're not getting out unless they go out on foot. And people are not going to leave areas that they're familiar with. If they're familiar with an area or they feel comfortable in an area, that's where they're going to stay. And then they're going to realize too late that they should have got out of Dodge when they had the chance to get out of Dodge. So there's not going to be this golden horde. I kept hearing all this back when I first got into prepping. Oh, the golden horde will leave the cities and they'll descend upon the country. You think that the people in the country are going to be sitting there going, oh, yes, please come in and eat our stuff? People are going to die by the thousands. They're going to die on the road because they don't know what they're doing. They're not used to not having lights. I'll give you a great example of that. When the kids were younger, Heather had a couple of friends of hers that we would bring out to when we moved to the homestead in New York, and they freak out with no lights on at night. They're like, I'm not used to it being so dark. Very unfamiliar, not ready for it, not knowing how to deal with it. And so those are things that people are not ready for. They're just not ready for it. And they're not going to go and do that. So, you think this golden horde's coming, they're not coming. They're not coming. They probably won't venture more than 20 miles out from the cities, and that only really doesn't put them that far. And they get out into the country, the people in the country are not going to sit there and go, yeah, everybody come on in. They're going to be shooting first and asking questions later. So you really need to think about those things and where you're at, what your location is, and what you're doing. The farther away you are from civilization, if you will, the better off your chances are going to be. The less populated states are going to have a better chance because there's not as many people fighting for the same resources. Again, I will always say prepare, prepare, prepare. If you are getting ready, you're doing yourself a service. If you don't, then you're in trouble. And, I want to make it. I don't care if it's 10 years from now. I'm still going to want to make it. So, that's where my mindset is. So, but, you know, people can think whatever they want to think, and that's great. But like I said, I'm going off based off reality. You look at the situations in the different war zones when the different, just trying to go out to get anywhere. There were snipers everywhere shooting people. There will be people that will just want to shoot people because they want to shoot people. So don't delude yourself to think that everybody's going to work together because not everybody's going to work together. What do you think about the real ID? Um, I don't have one, don't want one. What other people want to do is their own business. I don't. Anything that has more information than they should have about you is never a good thing. That's the way I look at it. So, yeah, be ready to show who you are because there will be no shade to hide. Exactly. You exactly. If you have a disabled person who can't travel, what is the plan? Hard choices are going to have to be made, Disney mom. And I know you don't want to hear that, but hard choices are going to have to be made. Think about this. What are their chances of long-term survival for that disabled person? Will they make it? Do you have the supplies that you need to give them the proper care that they need long term? Think about that. Think about all the people that, you know, if there's a group home, for example, and every month or every 2 weeks or whatever the case may be, supplies are brought in. No more supplies being brought in. You're going to have what you have. I've talked about that a lot as well. You're going to have what you have. So now you're going to have to make some tough decisions. It might not be what you want to hear, but that's reality. So I know a town in New Hampshire that has trees marked to cut in SHTF, even if uh, block roads to keep others out. Oh, and I'm sure that would happen, Reagan Dog. Absolutely. Some of your smaller towns will band together and work together. I absolutely believe that that is the case. Okay. But that's not the majority of people. So, anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this live stream. I will not be live streaming on Sunday. I just want to put that out there ahead of time. So, I know that I'm going to be probably not live streaming again until next Friday. Oh, yeah, the Sunday I won't be live streaming. I won't probably be live streaming again until next Friday. And I don't know about that weekend, but I probably won't be live streaming again until next Friday. So hardcore members will be at 6 o'clock. If you'd like to join them, you go to my main page and hit that bell icon, not bell icon. I'm sorry, hit the join button to become a hardcore member, and you can join us in that private live stream. Also, again, I'll be regular live stream would be at 8 o'clock next Friday. So that's the game plan. I hope you're all doing well. Be safe, everybody. I will talk to you all later. Have a great night. Prepper Nurse One out for now.